H.O.V.A is in the middle of the stage. He's got 55,000. He's telling them there's a special guest, but they don't know who it is.
Nobody in a million years could have foresaw that.
You had to be there. Like, you had to be there.
Well, after the death of Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z and Roc-A-Fella all of a sudden had the spotlight on them to be the big thing that was about to happen. You're going to take the crown. You the next guy.
Jay-Z's run, I think the start of it came around 90, 95 is 96, but I couldn't get the experience at firsthand because I was so young, but I was always seeing, Video Music Box. Stuff like that, where they show the behind the scenes footage of Roc-A-Fella in the clubs. You kind of see them popping bottles and having fun.
It was nothing like it. Like, we was running the planet, the world.
Every year it seemed like they just did something, or they tackled something that was a little bit bigger than last year.
To me, it was more than a record label. It was exactly what we called it, a La Familia. It was the family.
2000, Roc-A-Fella album drops, where it kind of establishes Roc-A-Fella as a brand more than anything, because then they got, Roc-A-Wear going on.
The most pressure was after that, and it wasn't even my album. I mean, you gotta look, we had records like One Line on the Hustler, You Need Him in Hut, This Can't Be Life. Now, that was a crazy session, This Can't Be Life. Because that record, I remember me and Jay doing our verses, and Scarface came to the studio. So Scarface was in the studio, and he was about to go in the booth. And his whole verse is literally everything that happened in that session.
Now as I walk into the studio, do this with Jig. I got a phone call from one of my said my homeboy Reed, he just lost one of his kids. And when I heard that, I just broke into tears.
The whole Roc-A-Fella experience, you couldn't buy that. You can't put a dollar amount on that.
I mean, Jay-Z was the go-to guy for the hits,
He did everything. If you were signed to The Roc, you had opportunities to be in. We did movies, we did clothing, the music, whole lifestyle. Wasn't nothing like The Roc.
And then in 2001, it was that was the breakout year. I feel like 2001 was I wouldn't say the peak, but it was the year where you really understood that this was going to be a legacy thing that wasn't going nowhere forever.
All those experiences, all those times, and all those moments that led up to one of the biggest and most memorable time with Roc-A-Fella that I ever had personally, and that was Summer Jam.
Being a kid, Summer Jam was just the biggest moment of the summer, when it came to hip hop. It's Hot 97's, Hot 97's big concert where they bring out all the the established vets, but also all the up and coming artists.
For most artists, they want to do the best show that they can do at Summer Jam.
It's bigger than a concert. The grace of Summer Jam stage and experience that is experienced like no other.
The biggest thing about Summer Jam is waiting, as a kid, is waiting to hear who's going to be on it when they make the announcements. It's when they make the announcements, it's almost like the NBA draft.
Summer Jam 2001.
Tonight, hip-hop's biggest party is on.
You know what I mean? It's oh, they gonna be on there. They gonna be on there. Because then once you start hearing the artists that's on there, that the collab records they got, you start speculating and imagining maybe they bring out this person, and maybe this person brings out that person.
Whoever's approaching the Summer Jam stage for that year is gonna go, I want people to forget about whoever performed ever on this stage at Summer Jam. I want to outdo everybody.
You got your acts, and then you never know who your acts is going to bring out with them, because everybody's trying to outdo everybody. And Busta killed it with Mariah Carey. Yeah, he did. A lot of people killed it, but it was just something about that Summer Jam when we did it that I don't think nobody's ever going to top.
You mixing up all of these artists, all these different personalities, and for one moment. And that's why I think Summer Jam was such a special thing. I think it still is a special thing.
And this is the big show. This is the big stage. I don't care who it was. Most of these artists never really played on those type of stages. So when it comes to Summer Jam in New York City, you're looking forward. First of all, of course, it's the mecca of hip hop, and it's 55,000 people.
So to be able to grace that stage is a big issue, and to be the headliner of the Summer Jam, which we was Roc-A-Fella Records. Jay-Z was, you on top of your game.
The H to the Izzo record, it was kind of like uttered about, around that time a lot in the streets and like on the mixtape circuit. Everybody was like hearing that Jay had this single that was coming.
Jay had used the "I Want You Back" sample from Michael Jackson.
When Jay-Z sampled "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5 and H to the Izzo, that was a big deal.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
Jay-Z is a lover of soul music, and you could hear it in for his whole career. Some of the samples that they use.
H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. With Shizzle, my nizzle used to dribble down in VA. Was hurting them in the home of the turbans. Got it dirt cheap for them. Plus, if they were short with cheese, I would work with them.
He loves the history of black music, and for him to pay homage to Michael Jackson was real.
The record, we didn't, nobody really knew anything, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really knew anything about the record. We just knew it was a buzz about it.
The whole vibe and the whole feeling of it, it was like crazy.
H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. With Shizzle, my nizzle used to dribble down in VA. H to the Izzo.
Formed it at the Summer Jam. I don't think nobody ever gonna top that. We already know that the sample was the "I Want You Back" sample. But then when he brought the glove one out, it was just like, yo, this dude is just...
Jay-Z and Dame Dash and Roc-A-Fella, they're on stage because they know he's there. So the assumption is Mike's going to get there, he's going to run to the stage and probably jet off, and that's it. Mike is taking his time. Mike's just being Mike. It's almost like Mike didn't even realize there was a concert going on.
I mean, the air is kind of thick because everybody's waiting for the headliner.
Nobody knows what's about to happen. I mean, nobody even on the stage that's performing, you really don't know until you actually see him. And
the whole term Summer Jam screen comes from that moment.
H.O.V.A is in the middle of the stage. He's got 55,000. He's telling them there's a special guest, but they don't know who it is. And gets to the front of the stage, and the lights hit him, and on the big screens, I see Michael Jackson's face.
I don't think anybody has ever done anything to that magnitude after. There's a lot of people that tried to recreate moments or have moments where they bring a person out, but nobody in a million years could have foresaw that.
The energy was just, you could feel when the crowd just went crazy. Everybody went crazy.
The whole place went crazy, and I think that for Jay-Z, you could almost see it was a relief. He did something that nobody can top. You could almost see it in his body language. He's like, yeah, I did it. No more has to be said. I did it.
Was getting interviewed by Ralph McDaniel. I think he kind of interviewed Jay. We was all in the dressing room, me, Jay, Bleak, Dame, and it was just when we just was coming down off that high.
I go to Jay-Z and put the mic in front of him, and he points to Beanie Siegel. And Beanie Siegel, nobody understands why Jay is not saying anything. So Beanie Siegel's acting like Jay-Z.
We don't do much. Summer Jam 2001, man. How was it for you, man? We don't do much.
And I don't know if Ralph even knew what was going on, but it was what can you ask me? It's nothing, do I even gotta answer this?
We don't do much. That's it. It's a wrap. We out here. Jigga, man.
There's been rumors, over the years, this was the end of Roc-A-Fella at this moment right here. I think that Jay was so overwhelmed by what he had just did and what it meant in history. They didn't get it like Jay-Z got it. It was a different atmosphere and a different space that Jay-Z moved in and thought pattern after doing that with Michael Jackson.
When all that dust settled, I think everybody knew they couldn't with Jay. You know what I mean? Like I think once he did that, he kind of solidified himself as the king of New York.
I think that just sent him up another level to where he was already at. Like, yo, this guy is serious. He got Mike on the phone. Mike came through.
There's not a lot of footage of that particular performance at Summer Jam and many performances and interviews before that because people didn't have cameras on their phones.
Wasn't no Instagram, wasn't no iPhones. You couldn't whip out your phone now, how everybody do.
You had to be there. Like, you know how they always say you had to be there to understand? I think you really just had to be there.
You had to be there. Like, you had to be there.
Nothing was done like that before. When I think about like legendary concerts, I think about like Biggie and Pac at the MSG. Shaheem was there too. You know, when they freestyled on stage.
Where's Tupac and Biggie Smalls?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever topped that moment, but it's definitely been comparable moments.
Well, whatever that moment was, and I can remember, and Jay-Z was included in this too, is when Kanye brought out Jay-Z. So it was almost like, you know, I'm going to bring out the best.
Me personally, and it's just no, you can't top that. What you gonna do? Prince gone. I mean, I can only think of one thing that you could probably even remotely come close to that. And that is 20 years from now, bring out Jay. That's the only thing that's going to top him bringing out Michael Jackson. Big facts.